Hi guys, my name's Hannah and I'm here today to teach you a little bit about hand lettering. I decided to make this video because a lot of my friends and family are constantly telling me that they wish they had my handwriting or they wish that they could learn to do something like that. And in my opinion, it's just a really fun and cool skill to have. One of the pens I'm going to be using today is a permanent marker by True Red that is gold metallic, a bright blue Crayola Super Tips, a pink Tombow brush pen, a hard tip Tombow Futanowski pen, as well as a plastic nib micron pen. None of these pens are required, these are just my go-tos. You can really use any pen that you have around the house or any marker. Crayola Super Tips are probably the cheapest one that you could go and buy though. I'm going to start with my Tombow brush pen just because it has the biggest brush tip, so it will best demonstrate the lines that I'm about to draw. You'll notice that in brush lettering, when you go down with your pen, the brush stroke is thick, while when you go up, the brush stroke is thin. I would start by making a few practice lines, just going down and up over and over again. If you're having a hard time recognizing which parts of the letter go up and down with your brush, try it with a pen first and then label with arrows, and then you can refer to that when drawing the letter. Now we're going to go right into drawing it with the brush pen. Each arrow is going to be a different stroke of the brush pen, so you'll notice that I break up the strokes one by one just to get a gist of how the letter is going to be before I draw it all together. I especially recommend doing this if you're a beginner because it can help you learn the components of each letter while practicing your thick and thin strokes. When you're ready, you can go ahead and combine them all and create your first letter. The next step is to practice that letter over and over until you feel like you can truly do it in the way that you want it to look. Next, I'm going to be demonstrating this with the Crayola Super Tip. You'll notice that the tip is hard and slanted as opposed to brush-like and soft. This means that to get the thick line, you must put the tip on its side, and to get the thin line, the tip must be directly down. To do this without picking up your pen, you kind of have to move the pen to the side and then directly up again and lean to the side again. It takes a little bit of practice, but for the price and for the number of colors they have, I would say it's worth learning. Now I'm just going to go ahead and draw out the entire alphabet for you guys just to have as a reference in case you want to go and try to do all the letters yourself. This is the way that I've been brush lettering for a while. I have changed some letters at times, but I always come back to the basic brush lettering style of that kind of bouncy, round text. I do have some different versions of certain letters, such as here you'll see me do the K in two different ways. At the end, I'm also going to include some other alternates for letters that I've already drawn as well. I find it easiest to draw these letters one stroke at a time, so doing the L in one piece, but the M would be in 3 different pieces. That means picking up the pen in between each stroke. Here are some additional alternate letters, such as a D without the curl, an H without the curl, a G with a little bit more pizzazz, a Q without a curl, and an S that looks more like a print S rather than a cursive S. Feel free to mix and match letter styles as you please. If you want to have some letters with a curl and some without, that's fine. Just make it up and have fun with it. Now we are going to go ahead and combine the letters and write an entire word. Notice how I take my time doing one stroke at a time and combining the letters where they best seem fit. And as you're about to see, I actually don't like how this turned out. I don't think that the bottom is even. See how the H dips down and the D doesn't? So keep me trying to rip it out of my page and then just crossing it out instead, because mistakes are okay. I decided to keep this piece in the video because hand lettering is about making mistakes, and a lot of people think that I just had this handwriting and it took no work, but in honesty, I've had 100,000 examples of things that I didn't end up liking. Things that I just threw away, or just pieces of paper full of me just writing the alphabet over and over again. But just keep trying, and eventually it'll get to where you want it to be. The first word in this, the hand part, is a little bit more straight up, less curly, more the original hand lettering form, as opposed to the bottom letter, lettering, which is more of a fancy cursive type vibe. And once again, I'm going to do this again with the Crayola Super Tips. However, I'm going to switch up the order. The fancy cursive vibe is going to be the hand, and the more straight up and down one is going to be the lettering. A good way to prevent doing what I did on my first hand mistake is to actually draw out some lines beforehand. You can do this in pencil. I'm doing it in pen just because it shows up better in video, but you'll see what I mean. Doing this is a good way to make sure that your letters are straight and that all of your loops, dips, highs, lows all match up. And now I'm just going in with that gold permanent marker to write journal. And honestly, it looks way neater and way better than when I wasn't using these grids. You can also use these to purposefully make your text a little bit misaligned, giving it a more bouncy and fun vibe. Now I'm just going to kind of show you guys the Tombow Futanowski pen, which I know I am probably saying wrong, but I have no idea how to say it. This is a little bit of a different brush lettering pen as it is hard tipped. It does a lot smaller of words, but it's perfect for doing headings in a journal or something that doesn't require something as large as a super tip or a brush pen. Notice the difference in how the brush lettering looks if you misalign some of the dips rather than if you just draw it in one cohesive line. They both look great, but it just depends on the style that you're going for. My last tip for you guys is to curl the ends of your letters. I'll show you what this means in a moment after I write this word without any of the curls. And, oh, I didn't like that one, the scene that you were touching too much, so we're starting over. So you'll notice at the end I add these little curls. I'm not sure exactly what they're called, I'm sure there's a name for them, but they just kind of make everything look a little bit prettier and fancier. And whether that means creating a new stroke or just extending on a stroke that's already there, either way works. And though this isn't necessarily a brushed lettering tip, I do want to show you guys some cool effects that you can add to your words just to give them a little bit more boldness or just something fun. The first thing that I'm going to do to the word Crayola is add what I would consider a shadow. It basically makes like the word look like it's popping out of the page. You just kind of have to imagine that there's a light in the top left corner of the page, and anything that wouldn't be touching that light would get a line on it. You can do this in a darker color or darker version of the color that you're using, a fine liner like me, or you can do basically whatever you want. The next tip is a little bit more easy to do, and it just means giving it an outline. So outline the word in a fine liner or in another color just to make it pop a little bit and seem more like a text rather than handwriting. The last thing that I wanted to teach you guys was how to do faux calligraphy, for if you don't have a good pen to use, or if it's just a little bit too hard but you still want to get that calligraphy look. So the first thing that you're going to do is write your word in cursive, and then you're just going to go in and kind of color in wherever your brush strokes go down. And that is all that I have for you guys. Thanks so much for watching today. Hopefully this helped you better your brush lettering in any way, shape, or form. Just let me know in the comments below what you thought and what you'd like to see more of.